Reality.tv.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Best of the Rest final. Ironbank out of Sydney playing off against Fyswhick unit, the B team from the Fyswhick Ultimate Club in Canberra. My name is Daniel Clinton, and I am joined by the fabulous and the fantastic Simon Talbot.
Thank you, Daniel. Probably the first time I've ever been described as either of those words, but...
Well, modern society needs to lift their game then, I would say, as Tam is going to put in some work. That pull, I don't know when it's coming down. There it is. McManus to pick it up for Fyswhick unit. Through spell to Winder. Oh, what a spectacular catch that is. Unbelievable at full stretch. The reset through Gentle. Hannah Monty with a laser of a backhand. She throws the score.
And that's the start you'd expect to see from Fyswhick unit on offense. We're going to see Ironbank exclusively play zone. I think that's one of the unusual things you see to do sometimes is just preference the zone defense over match, and I think Fyswhick unit have spotted that already and have just straight away have gone with those high percentage throws to bust the zone wide open and get it easily into the middle of the end zone for the score.
And it just doesn't seem to matter where Hannah Monty goes. She's just always open. Doesn't matter what team she's playing on, whether it's at a world's level, she's coming over and playing at a Div 2 opens level, women's, do it all a little bit. And that grab by McManus, I think it was.
This is going to be a game of defense, Daniel. I think we're at this level. We're pretty confident that O on both ends is going to be fairly efficient. Get it all in. You're really going to have to take the disc off the other team at some point to get those break points in to get some sort of lead. I think the wind's starting to pick up a bit, so that might help. It's blowing from sort of top to bottom of the screen. Nothing too drastic, but enough to make a difference.
And playing for Fyswhick unit is the unit, Rob de Hollander.
Horizontal set.
The undercatch, Raiden Chang catches well. He had a great game yesterday. And Chang goes down the line, gets it back. Chang looking, splits through the middle. What a great throw that was. Adam Tan off Dougal, bouncing it, Dominator. Ironbank flooding the strong side. There's Hannah. He's getting a good look at the end zone. Raiden Cheng's just kind of standing out there on the wing. Tan tries to get it, can't get it. Dougal. Experienced hands of Dougal now on the disc. Resets to Tan. Mitch Hannah. There's Rochot. He's slowing down a little bit, Dougal. Dougal to Rochot in the corner. 1-1.
No turns yet, not you'd expect in the first couple of points, but Ironbank's offense has really played very close to the disc, and it's going to be easier in the game for Fyswhick unit to adapt to that and really close down this near sideline if they're not careful, but one or two sort of close shots through the middle of the field can open it up, but just finding room to do that's going to be troubling for them.
Two receivers to watch this game, I think. Raiden Cheng had an outstanding match yesterday. I know they lost to Branch on screen. And also Mitch Hannah, two exceptionally athletic receivers. If I was a betting man, I'd put money on there being some big plays coming from those two.
So Ironbank just calling their D line there. They will come down in this zone. They'll crowd three around the disc and try and do their best to prevent forward movement, but Fyswhick's lateral movement is just too quick, I think. They're just going to work around it too easily, so those wings and deeps will need to play pretty aggressive if they want to convert this into a block.
This game here, technically a Division 2 final, top 8 teams separating out in the men's. So this is everyone else. and the best of everyone else. Gentle will let that go.
Yeah, it'll be a preview of the Australian Ultimate Championships Div 2 later this year, happening first weekend of April. These two teams you think will be factoring in the top 8 at least, maybe top 4. You can see they've got that zone crowded up, really pushing them towards this near sideline.
Oh, and Manus is just going to have other ideas about that.
There we go, first turn of the game.
Ayden Barron flies.
Not much movement happening downfield.
Weston. Brunelli Brondex. Hannah gets free. The outcut from Rochot. Hannah's going to reach for Rochot. It's an excellent throw by Mitch Hannah. He's on the end zone line, is Rochot. He looks, he tries to get it. He can't, he's going to have to reset it. So Mitch Hannah.
Front corner.
And there it is.
Oh!
What?
Well baited there.
Manus will come across to Gentle. Through hands, dribbling now.
Spelderwinder's gone deep.
Garbett. And a nice gathering catch by Barron. Through the hands of Spelderwinder to Jalil. Over to McManus. Who, in the most cheeky way possible, tries to milk a goal.
Did everything he could to get that, but the Ironbank plays his own straight away. I don't think so.
I don't think Western is having any of that. Are they going to talk about it? The throw from Jalil. Just floating out there.
So they're calling it out, so McManus will have to tap it in right on the goal line. Yeah, not in. That's what it's the replay.
You don't ask the question, you don't get the answer.
Went one too many steps there, I think, just to try and really milk it in. But
well, after the full strength layout,
yeah,
maybe you would have been better just going head first rather than feet first. Spelderwinder draws two. McManus has to find something. Goes back to Gentle. Into the middle to Spelderwinder. Fyswhick, unit. Get two.
Was clever there by McManus, obviously, to try and milk it in, but rather than try and push it into that front corner, just have one look. So we're going to go back the other way. See that huge layout there.
Ayden Barron.
Alive. Yeah, as we can see, McManus just looked backwards lateral, and then Spelderwinder just found himself 2 feet just inside the end zone.
And in between 3 defenders. I want to talk a little bit about some of these players. I want to talk about Asher Gentle, long-time servant of this Fyswhick club. He's been playing as long as I have, and he's still getting around. He spent so many years being just that supporting cast member. Never a star, but always ever reliable in the Division 1 team. Now, as he's getting older, as we all do, has found himself, you know, a big part of this Div 2 team.
He really...
Clubs are built on those kind of men, aren't they?
Absolutely, like in the Div 1.
And women.
Yes, in the Div 1 team, back when he was a feature of the Fyswhick United at the Australian Ultimate Championships level, he was really that 3rd or 4th defender who would always sort of take that 3rd or 4th defender and give himself capacity to play off them and play loose a little bit. Didn't always take the star players in the opposition, but enough to go and get those cheeky blocks, and just was a really good read of the play. Still is a really good read of the play. We'll see. Definitely see him get his hands on it on the.
Okay, that's Watt to Chew. Back to Tam. Tam will come along to Cheng.
Yeah, Cheng really had to work for that one. He had to Hollander coming in hot, force him to jump a bit early.
The Hollander will go back the other way with a somewhat swilly pass. It's in the area. It falls at the feet. Henderson goes up big to try and get that one down.
Well read there by Henderson to come in. He had his teammate in front of the Fyswhick receiver there, so came in behind just for that clean block. And again, we've gone.
And Rob de Hollander has just nearly murdered Raider Cheng.
Again, Cheng went too early. We'll see that on replay there. Had to go early and de Hollander.
There are many things in this life that are unnatural. One of which is Rob de Hollander, a man who stands about 6'6" and weighs 140 kilos and moves as fast as he does. That's a score. Jaron Chew catching for Ironbark. That's 2-all.
Much quicker pace offense there from Ironbark. They didn't really want to wait around too much in this back half of the field. So you see, Dayan didn't contest that foul at all. Yeah, these leading passes are going to be a real feature today. That was just beautifully way to put out into space and kept close enough to this near sideline that far defender didn't have a clear play on it. So it was a well-weighted pass. Probably couldn't have asked for it to be any better.
So at the moment we're on serve. It's 2-all.
Probably good for a break point at this point, I reckon. This one, if Ironbark have got it in them, they're going to have to they'll get their hands on this one, I think, because it's a short 70-minute games. It's only 10 minutes difference, but it just does not quite leave you enough time for a comeback, so you really need to try and get the jump early on and hold on to that lead.
And the rules don't allow it either. If you're not within one, the game just ends.
Yep.
Rosho, pool that's actually pretty flat and will hit the fence.
Yeah, if you can get yourself out to a 2 or 3 goal lead within the first 25, 30 minutes, you can really just kind of sit on it and work the clock down a little bit, which is unusual for tournament play.
And what we saw didn't happen with the Fyswhick United team just now against Thunder Dice. Gentle to spell the window. Against this Ironbark zone, Belder window. Oh no. Rosho has had a lapse, and that ends in a Fyswhick goal.
That receiver came from nowhere. Where was he even on? Ironbark wasn't aware. We couldn't see him. I think he just
you and
pitched
Rosho had no idea about him. Spelder window spots him, and great throw.
Okay, it was just a mid player who you usually expect to be centre field or around the desk, just decided to drift deep to see if anyone would follow him, and no one did, and gets the easiest goal he'll score today. So I think Fyswhick will stick with match defence. It's been serving them well so far.
And they match up pretty well across the board. Fyswhick unit bringing a athletic B team.
So Ironbark will typically play a horizontal set offense, but without one of their key throwers today, Tim G, sitting out this game. They really rely on him to be that distributor and big thrower, so it'll be interesting to see how their cutters adapt without him controlling the offense.
G picking up an injury at takeoff. Hasn't quite recovered. Is able to noodle around. The Hollander with a pull that looks like it'll go out of bounds.
Yep, overcorrected on that pull. Seen a couple of pulls come out to this bottom left corner. So he's tried to keep it up high, but overcooked it.
So Ian Watt, let's bring it in.
They go with the vertical set.
Brunelli Brondex. Mitch Hanna gets open. He's wide open. He's still open. Hanna will break back to Brunelli Brondex. Hanna is free, and Rosho's in the area. It's a nice defensive play, though, by Henderson. And Jalil will bring it back and get us playing. De Hollander. Here's a free player a long way deep. Harvey, who caught the last one. De Hollander rumbles down the sideline. Does Rob De Hollander. There is our first break of the game.
Fyswhick played that defense really well. Obviously, we didn't expect an Ironbark vertical stack, but it just played right into Fyswick's hands. They really closed up this near side of the field. Also, till Hanna got that breakthrough out to the centre of the field, that they were able to open it up, but they just need to work that a little bit harder to create that space on the near side, as we see. Big throw again.
Is he wearing like stealth boots, Tom Harvey? He's got like the stealth orange boots on.
Twice in a row, Ironbark have left the player at the back, and I think there's just no talk from their sideline. They've really got to be making their teammates aware of what's happening behind them. It's something you don't sort of realise how much you rely upon as a player until it's not happening, and then you realise, oh, hang on, no one's saying anything. You only count 6 players in front of you, and you don't consider the 7th.
Yeah, Tom Harvey just sneaking down the field and catching himself stealth goals. Ironbank will have to find something on offense now. And Fyswhick unit, really, they're the ones who take the first opportunity and turn it into a small advantage.
Wind's starting to pick up a bit, blowing from top to bottom of the screen. I think we'll probably see pulls especially, but long throws probably start to drift out of bounds towards this side of the field, I think, as this game progresses. It's like 6th game of the 6th or 7th game for some of these teams, and it's been muggy conditions, so the muscles aren't going to be responding how they did yesterday morning.
Tam. Already Chang has dropped that cold. I talked him up, I gassed him up in the pre-game, and I really should be careful about what I say about him. The Hollander.
Centre field, right where you want it.
On that backhand is going to go with an inside out Harvey. And then Ayden Chang has done enough by the looks of it. Looks like there will be no call.
Yeah, just drifted far, just drifted in the air for way too long that throw.
Tan.
Everyone cutting away from the disc.
Can't get it to lie.
Oh, this is trouble.
It's Tam. Engages and resets to Tan.
Yeah, this is trouble.
Oh, and Ayden. There's going to be a foul call on that one. We're going to come back. Looks like it might be Ben Allen.
Yeah, the first one was the first go was a fumble, so the Fyswhick defender did have the right to make a play at it, but might have clipped his arm on the way through, I think. They're just having a chat. Yep, uncontested, seems like.
Okay, so the disc is brought in. Ironbank. Matt Tan.
Need to attack this side, there we go.
Chang. Arbage is open near side. There's a throw down the line. It's a spicy one. Adam Tan with the disc. Combining with Lee. Arbage. Back to Lai. There's a reset to Tan, who has the bid. The stack is a little bit static at the moment. They're one out. Not many cuts coming from down the field. Chu comes late. Tan gets up the line. On the edge of the red zone. Lai, the around. Chang. Chu open. No. He has to reset it. Keep the offense going. Tan, a lot of space. And the look away. Just looking towards the open side and then coming back to the break side. Nice play by Adam Tan.
Wasn't a lot of downfield action there from Ironbank. Their cutters weren't really responding to the handler movement. Fyswhick unit had pushed them up to the high side of the field on defense, and Mitch Hanna was able to get those break throws out, but then there was just nothing continuing down this side. So I think the cutters, even towards the back of the stack, you should just have one set out just to say, right, okay, if we get that breakthrough out, I'm going to head that way for the continuation. Because if you just keep them pegged on one sideline, it's going to make life very difficult.
I think a considerable challenge is how do you deal with only having 7 on the field and yet being 6 or 7 games deep in the tournament. How do you deal with the timing when you're getting tired?
It does become a fatigue thing. You can get very comfortable having a rest in the stack there.
You can.
Just pitching a tent, going, I'm good for now. Fyswhick restart play running with the horror set themselves. Ironbank with their zone gentle to the Hollander. Ironbank have moved it over to this near sideline, but Fyswhick are very, very easy playing that. Spelderwinder slings it over the top to that top corner for a very easy goal. They didn't look to be held up at all there on that zone. Just straight through.
Well, it makes you question, do Ironbank need to change something defensively here?
I wouldn't mind, like obviously I think they're just going to be committed to this zone, but I'd really like to see them flatten up that force rather than put them in, try and hem them into one sideline. I think just really block those first rows. Make them throw more passes, because you're not just going to keep up the front of your zone if they're moving it as quick as they can. You need to really flatten it up, force them to throw more passes, and slow down, play the game on your terms. Because at the moment, Fyswhick's offense is controlling Ironbank's defense.
Well, Harvey, the disc in hand for the Fyswhick unit, going to pull. And the Bark O contingent down already in Watt, giving some instructions in the blue snood.
I'm almost ready to call it already, Daniel. I think another break here to Fyswhick unit will almost be it, because they're just looking like they've got another level to hit. Well, I think Ironbank maybe already at their peak.
They are looking spent, even though Fyswhick unit have the shorter line, the shorter roster. It does seem like, in terms of energy, Ian Watt going for Rosho, can't get it there.
Too low.
In terms of energy, seems like unit has the edge at the moment. Jalil towards Henderson. Young man does it well.
Not the prettiest of hucks, but when you're shooting at the centre of the end zone, you've got a greater margin for error, really. You can.
The receiving radius of someone the height of Dermot Henderson is considerable.
Yeah.
So the accuracy of the throw can be lesser if you put it in a good spot. Chances are he will go and get it.
I think that quick turn and score is really going to take the wind out of Ironbank's sails a bit. I think we were putting the curse on them, saying that, you know, one more point would just about put an unassailable lead in these shorter games, but they've really got some work to do now just to at least stay in touch. We're just over 20, nearly 22 minutes deep, so about 50 minutes to go in the game.
Over behind this field, we've got Newcastle U-Beam playing off against NSU Borealis, the men's team from Northern Suburbs Ultimate. Yeah, a good team. A good match between two Div 2 teams. Spelled a Windle to pull. Unit beginning to forge a really strong position in this game.
Couldn't be better.
Mitch Hanna sends the disc to Matt Tam. Chang comes under.
Too much around the disc at the moment.
Tam does get it. Hanna. Oh, it's just thrown it to Hannah Monty. Wrong jersey. Mitch Hanna. And Monty, as she just seems to do, gets herself a block. It'll result in another Fyswhick unit score. Good players make plays. It doesn't matter how. They just seem to find a way.
So it was great offensive cutting there from Monty, just to find herself open and get the easy pass. But I think it was just a rush throw, I think. He was obviously trying to put it out to space, but the wind just picked it up straight out of his hand. Just not enough snap on it. So 7-3 now. Timeout called.
What's your personal philosophy on timeouts? When should they be used and when should they not be used, Simon Talbot?
Between points for sure. Do not call them on the field. I know you needling me for that one, so I'll just go straight into it. But it's definitely the time Ironbank would have used that. Obviously 2 quick breaks in a row. You need that to arrest the momentum of Fyswhick, and also just get yourself centred a bit on field. Just go back, just have that time to have a few deep breaths. Don't get too overexcited. Because even though we're a couple of goals down now, you don't want to try and change up what you're doing. Because if you go for a dramatic change this late in a tournament, you lose that cohesion, and it's probably not going to result in the outcome that you want. You just need to try and not so much double down, but just play tighter on what you're doing, do what you know and what you're comfortable with. Put in this first offensive goal and get rolling from there. Yeah, they play that horizontal set really well. They have those initial out cuts coming back in, but then after, second cycle, maybe third, they just they're too closed up around the disc, and that's just way too easy for Fyswhick unit to really encircle the thrower and leave them without many options.
Fyswhick unit have broken their huddle. Ironbark just breaking now. Unit clearly happy to keep playing this game. Ironbark searching for answers.
Something I've noticed, Daniel, I like to notice unusual things, but this is a rugby pitch we're playing on, and rugby pitch, especially early in the season, has very thick and long grass, which means it's actually really hard to move as quick as you would like. We're not exactly playing on a pool table here, more like a shag pole carpet. It slows you down just enough to not, just be that half a step slower than you would have been on another field. And the hot and muggy conditions, everyone's legs have got to be hurting at this point. And we'll see some throws just get overshot by about a metre or so, just because at training, all these link-ups and connections happen 100% of the time, but as soon as you take, 10% of the pace off your receiver, those throws then start to miss by about a metre.
Harvey for Fyswhick unit. They're back on defence. Their opportunity to take half if they can get a turn and convert it.
Very perfunctory pull action there.
Then Dougal. Rocho's open. Mitch gets a reset.
Can't have 4 around this.
As the 3 o'clock flight from Lightning Ridge goes over. It's actually the 2:40. Chang breaks to Mitch Hanna. They could be away here, but the Fyswhick unit defense stands strong, stopping that flow to the break side. Van Dougal again. And he's going to throw to the poaching Dermot Henderson and Jalil. He's going to turf it. It was there, and he just couldn't get the disc up again.
Just upfield movement just completely dried up from Ironbark on the last possession.
Oh, and that's a flat throw towards Banganay.
There you go. It's one of those throws that's just half a metre too far. Would have been completed yesterday. So unit with their second possession at this point. Hopefully like a few more passes together, but Ironbark have got them where they'd want them to be, pegged up in that top corner.
So Malcolm Gill trying to get it back towards Rob de Hollander.
They've got to work it off this sideline now, back towards the top of the side.
They are on the low side of the field. Rob de Hollander. De Hollander is going to stomp his foot.
Yeah.
And Rocho is going to catch it. Chang. Over to 10. It's covered by 2. Mitch Hanna out of the stack.
Cool. Great grab.
And Hanna towards Rocho. He's too close. Chang is the one who goes in at the back of the pack and catches Ironbark's score. The one they've been looking for a while now.
That throw from De Hollander, was not a great choice given the conditions, because what he was trying to do was curl the throw into the wind, and that's just going to push it down every time. And
it's a little bit like that friend that's always late. You're happy to see them, but you're kind of wondering, where were you?
But much better offense there from Ironbark. Just link a couple of quick passes together, because I think we've noticed already, once they get about 5 or 6 passes into their possession, the cut's dried up. So you want to just try and hit those first couple of options just to keep that movement going. If you sit on the disc just a little bit too long,
well, it gives the defense an opportunity to adjust and know where the frisbee is and get in a better position defensively, doesn't it?
We see Mitch Hanna, he's making those cuts to provide those options. He's not necessarily just going for the direct line to the disc, give me the plastic now kind of cutting. He's really hitting that break side and giving all these throwers that inside option to move it off the sideline. I'm really enjoying how he's playing that well, really enabling his whole team to perform rather than just try and dominate the game himself.
Brunelli Brondex currently has the disc for Ironbark. Be their first D point in a while.
Yeah, so it's their first offensive hold out of that timeout, which they'll be very happy with. And yeah, you want to try and turn that energy into defensive turn and conversion here.
Gentle. Centers to Garbutt. Gentle goes to the hammer to McManus.
Yeah, just quick movement again.
Ironbark go to the zone. Garbutt. He's going to break the zone to Spelder-Windle. And Spelder-Windle to Panamonti. As soon as they're past that containment.
Yep. They're just moving it way too quickly for Ironbark to keep up with. Just too many gaps through the middle as the zone moves laterally. Just really can't contain just how quickly these throwers are getting it out of their hand.
So another timeout is going to be called.
Half.
Ironbark. Half.
Yeah.
I knew that.
That's how quickly this game's been played.
It doesn't feel like halftime yet, and yet I'm wrong. It is halftime. We're going to take a break along with the players. Fyswhick unit ahead in this game to sort out who is the best of the rest. They're looking good so far. We'll go to some replays, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back very shortly with the second half of this match here from the Eastern Regional Championships for 2022.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, Ultimate TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our
our
work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Both teams break the huddle, ready for the second half of this best of the rest final. Replay's just winding up. And Rob the Hollander winding up for a pull. Oh, this one's a high one. And it's blowing out here hard, so it's going to go over the fence.
Oh, just nearly cleaned up a couple of people under the shelter there.
Come down with snow on it.
Weren't expecting this to come in hot like that. But yeah, the wind definitely picked up during the half break. I think you can hear it through the mics. It's going to make the rest of the games today quite interesting.
So here comes Tan to the brick mark. The throws in there. They're going to have to work out of match. It's low to Chang. But he catches very, very well. Nice pass. And Adam Tan. Chang again. Carrying the load is Raiden Chang. He's going to go break the Hollander. And the Hollander instantly to Henderson.
Henderson took off to the end zone immediately as that last throw went up. Such as his faith into Hollander getting that block. Didn't even wait to see if it would be completed.
And the Fyswhick A team actually on the hill cheering Henderson on. Wasn't enough. Tam on the sideline gets the reset to Tan. Gestures with his head. Chang engages. It goes to Lai. And now Abaj. Chang. Chew is deep. Chang doesn't go to him. Ironbark having to dig deep at the moment. Tan and Chang combine. And that is intercepted.
Well baited.
Huang Yang. The Hollander.
Desperate to throw long, but no one's cutting.
Yang. Points. The Hollander. The Hollander with the disc. He casually waits until stall 8 before throwing it. Jalil, miscommunication. And then Tam. Tam is going to send it.
Yeah, again, too much curve on that. If he had kept it flat, would have sat nicely, but just that little bit of outside in meant the wind got under it, pushed out of bounds. But they've got a pretty advantageous D position here.
It'll give them a good shot. The Hollander puts one out in space. Henderson, that's no. A wild one. He buys a foul, Tom Harvey. Just catching that, it went far enough at the end of the day. Through Yang. Now with Gill. Yang comes right the way around and then breaks to De Hollander, combining with De Hollander. He just walks off, oh no! With the walk-off backhand, too much sauce. Dan brings it in for Ironbark.
Oh,
Tom Harvey. It is a mess out there at the moment. Jalil. De Hollander lurking. Yang to De Hollander. You fancy the big hammer across the field is on here.
No stall count, so takes his time.
Henderson. Henderson is going to reset the disc. Jalil, inside break to Malcolm Gill. Fyswhick unit, number 9.
We'll never let it be said this sport can be boring sometimes, Daniel. It's I'm not going to criticise the decision-making so much as the assumptions made that point by both teams. A couple of times we saw it just thrown straight to defenders. And
sometimes bad sport can be bad to watch. Sometimes bad sport can be great to watch. I don't think that there is a coach on this planet that would like anything that just happened there, but We love it.
Coach Angie Toe there in the orange jersey. I think the margin being what it is, I think she's kept herself composed. But if it was a closer game, I think we would have been hearing some choice opinions.
Take the sling off and start beating someone with it. We didn't practice that in training. What are you doing?
Just too many hurried throws, Daniel. I think everyone's just real keen to get the point over and done with, but you've got to play it through till it's done. So Fyswhick with their defensive line on. Got a
Spell to Windle. They put up a massive pull just before. This one looks to be pretty good as well. Tan stops it and goes to Mitch Hanna.
Too many behind the disc.
Garnier in space. Finding himself with no mark. Hanna will break to Raiden Cheng. Cheng goes around to Rochot. Garnier in the corner. Rochot can't get it to him. He's going to reset instead to Ben Dougal. He's going to call a timeout, Simon Talbot. Your thoughts on that?
This will be a turnover.
He has been banked preemptively.
Yep. Dougal just have one look at the break side. Obviously, he wanted either the hammer shot, which in this win you probably wouldn't do, or that inside flick. Just no one went for it. So I think what he has in mind is that he'll try and set up a play that does that, but he's just given Fyswhick unit the chance to really set up and clamp down on this defense, try and push him to the high side. And if you put too much curve on any throws to that top side of the end zone, it's going to be a disaster. So you see the team's gathering. It's not like they need the break. They've only just had a half, so we can see the Fyswhick huddles, just the 7 players that are on the field, just with their coach, Angie Toe. They're just taking a breath. They're just going to set up and play really disciplined defense. I don't think they'll switch to force. I think they'll keep that flick force, but really just sort of shade that inside break.
Just saw the replay of the Huang Yang dribble through walk-off attempt. Reminded of the times when basketball players will put the three-pointer up, turn around with their finger up, and then the miss in the frame behind them. So very reminiscent.
Let's see what they're set up here. They're going to isolate. Who's that at the top there? That's
Rochot by the looks.
I think he's going to be the decoy, and I think the actual cut's going to come from that group of 3 on the far left there, or it'll be a swing over to Mitch Hanna, who's just on the right edge of the frame there.
It is Rochot isolated at the front. He can't get free.
Yep,
Hanna having a good look at the end zone. He's going to reset it to Ben Dougal. Back to Hanna. Nice short pass. So close. Ben Allen gets it to Dougal, and then at the front corner, Raiden Cheng. Gassing him up all game, and finally he gets a bit of reward for his hard work.
Yeah. So Fyswhick did switch up the force there. They had forced them to throw the forehand side to the high side the whole time, but really tried to pit him down on this corner and poached off their defenders from the group of 3 at the back of the stack. Interesting play, like obviously you want to try and counter any kind of end zone set that a team's got and force them to try and throw more, but I think Chang, he's bailed them out a significant number of times in this game. A lot of throws on stalls 6 or 7 or 8 have gone to him, and I think that there'll be some Division 1 teams who may watch this footage back or may have encountered playing him yesterday that might be adding him on Facebook in the coming weeks, asking him what his plans are for next season.
You would figure he would fit into a branch team very easily, potentially, if he's wanting to move up through the ranks. He might even sneak onto a Sunder roster.
I was going to say, I think there's a team where the Blair's blue and white that might come knocking, especially in a World Clubs year. You tend to have a bit of roster turnover after that with some players going out in the high. So I think there'll be a bit of room next year for young players like him. But look, I hope he sticks with Ironbank, really. Gives him at least a couple more, 1 or 2 more seasons. Really honed his craft and
Spell the Windle.
Just moves it up so fast up the field.
McManus, oh, it's through the hands.
First probably serious fumble from that by that offensive line.
Kash Patel. And so it's in Watt. Only one
boy.
Watt, not Watts.
No, can't do that.
Spell the Windle. Knew the most about it. And he'll go out to Hannah Monty, back to Spell the Windle.
Crossfield.
Decided he wants to run this offense. And just like that, he's turning it on. Dave McManus. Spell the Windle.
He wants this bottom corner, but no one's going there. There we go.
McManus.
Gives him the big don't argue on the way through.
He sat Arbage on the ground.
I think Arbage, is he going to call it? No.
Big Dave McManus. who stands about 5'2" and weighs about 47 kilos in cleats.
I've never seen him walk taller. Look, Arbage would have been well within his right to call offensive foul on that because it wasn't
really was.
push off, but I think they both sort of came in together, so I think Arbage was just happy to write that off as a incidental bump in play. But
yeah, you see Mitch Hanna kind of gesturing, you know.
All right, come on, mate.
What's the story of Arbage? And Arbage is like, you know. Sometimes it happens.
Sometimes you get done. Yes, accept it.
It's a sign of maturity, I think, when you're able to wear one like that and be like, all right, fair enough. Fair play.
I would have called the travel on McManus. Watch this, like 100% it's a travel. He'll push him off, and then jumps up. There, 100% a travel. Where is he? I'm going to tell him that.
Garbutt is the one who catches the goal to cap the move. And McManus gives him the Conor McGregor walk. Big swagger.
So Fyswhick well in control of this game now. 10-4, where
Still got a long way to go in this game. It's been placed pretty fast pace.
Yeah, ticking over 47 minutes, so I reckon we might just get the soft cap if Ironbark can get an offensive hold or two. Great run down.
Casey Lai has to go very, very high for that one. Hannah.
Hannah will get a lot more involved now.
Lai through Chew to Tan.
Great movement. But this is where they hold up. They get through that nice little offensive flow, but then...
Oh, nice dominator movement from Mitch Hanna. Yeah. Working with Adam Tan. Now Matt Tam. The break. Casey Lai. Tam under pressure. Ironbark so close. It's been pretty good offense thus far. Hanna gets stopped. No, he doesn't. He's on the goal line. Darren Chew for the goal. Makes sure of it. Places it on the ground.
Great 1-2 combo, Tan and Hannah, really bouncing off each other. I said before that Hannah really likes to try and provide that break option, but I think he's just going to get really involved now and just the old every second pass type offense. But that's what they need at the moment. They need someone to keep that flow going. They get about 3 or 4 or 5 passes into that flow. Then the next one doesn't come because they're all still behind the disc, and it just stops. And then Fyswhick are just able to really clamp down and halt that flow. And that's where we've seen most of their turns happen, is trying to push that flow once it's stopped, once the momentum's changed. And I think they've just really made that adjustment of just when that flow stops, hold on to it for a little bit longer, bounce it around to handlers once or twice, gives your cutters time to move downfield, get themselves set, have a quick breath or two, then get going again. So really almost playing, almost running 2 offensive plays back to back in the same point rather than just try and force the same one to stretch out.
It's actually a hallmark of the ellipsis offense, is that use of handler movement. Brunelli Brondex is going to send a roller down and spell the window. Throw some fakes and then break the cup to McManus. Through to Arbit. and
they're really
streaky.
testing limits here.
Garbutt to Spelder-Windle. Spelder-Windle's going to dribble and combine with Gentle, and then the break through back into the middle.
Yep. So that lateral movement's far too easy for Fyswhick. Now I think Ironbank did flatten up their marking a little bit since probably half, but now it's just, I think Fyswhick are far more comfortable than that with a one-way force. So I think they just, you would have seen most teams change to match by now, but Ironbank is going to stick with it, I think.
You think maybe they doubt they can match up against them in match?
I don't think it's a doubt so much as they just don't play it. I've seen them play a couple of games this weekend and they just play zone defense the entire time. So I think they're just now coming up against a team that is just so proficient against zone that it's really exposed the cracks that exist in it. Put them up against a team that that would have played in pool games yesterday, for instance, and that it would have really worked for them. Obviously, it got them a couple of wins, but when you've got throwers of the experience like Spelder-Windle, Gentle, De Hollander, Monty on Fyswhick, who would just have faced zone defense thousands of times, and it's just pure pattern recognition for them at this stage of their careers. And just watch all their throws against that. It's just so flat and crisp, no float to them whatsoever, just absolute bullets. And you've just got no hope of making a defensive play on them unless you can anticipate it before it's come off. And when one throw's coming after the other before you've even got a stall count on, you've just got no time to do that.
So Fyswhick unit signal ready. They're ready to play defense. Spelder-Windle.
Ironbank just need to hold their offensive points.
Well, that's not a good start.
Did he touch that? I think he
No, I don't think
might
he
be bringing
did.
that up.
It's gone right around him.
Of course, if he had touched that, he would have had to bring it in on that corner. And he's
Reminiscent of that that ball that was bowled by Shane Warne that went round everything. Rochot. Now look and try and find something. What? And what will go to Rochot.
Oh, just. The Sunday legs have taken away about an inch of his verticality there, so. Good look though, great look. Rochot's been dominating the skies. We see a huge layout bit there.
Spelder-Windle working with Garbutt. Garbutt again. Spelder-Windle. Oh,
No.
with a very much a nut. Ayden Barron goes with the flopping forehand that went out of style somewhere around 2009.
So I haven't seen a fadeaway since
Tom Tillett in 2009, I reckon.
since Tom Regaki was playing. That
Ayden Barron has just gone big on Brunelli Brondex. And they're going to have a chat about it.
it's more in like a Hello Kitty backpack there, I think. For mine, that's a pretty clear foul because
They're coming through. Liam Brunelli Brondex was Ayden Barron. It seems like, yeah. No, actually.
Tested.
What? It's going to get contested and sent back.
ugh.
Have to wonder if he's Canadian.
Big shout out to all our Canadian viewers. I'll get some engagement in the comments. Oh, don't know about that throw.
Oh, Roscoe has to go. He does. He doesn't get there.
Again, those throws to the bottom side of the screen, the wind's just going to carry it too far for anyone to make a clean play at it, especially if there's curve on it. So I rolled out of bounds, so Spelder-Windle gets a bonus couple of metres.
And Spelder-Windle going to try and get the reset to Jalil. And the poach comes Garbutt. It's too hot for him.
A lot of spice in that throw.
Needed another mitt. Weston out to Rochot. There's Brunelli Brondex. And Watt takes a tumble and keeps running. Benelli Brondex still with a disc. Half the team is still playing. The other half is just standing there. Mitch Hanna decides he'll join in on the action. Weston. Weston fakes the throw to Watt. Benelli Brondex works open.
Near side, boys, near side. There
Hammer is dying. Arbridge on the chest.
Yep. Fyswhick had just really clamped down on that top side of that end zone. There was just not going to be a single look in there. They needed to hit this bottom side of the end zone in one pass or two if they had a hope of scoring. And luckily the hammer shot was to clear open cutter. We just saw in the play there was a tumble from the Ironbank play, Watt, and it's the old play to the whistle adage you hear in other sports. In Ultimate, sometimes you will see something like that happen, so some players will assume a call has been made and will make the signal to stop play. It's like there's no call actually being made.
Yeah, in our sport, it's play till it's dead.
Yeah.
Play till it's on the ground. Keep playing. You can always come back later, but
yeah.
if you don't keep playing, there's the potential that a point will get scored and it'll stand.
Yeah, and
if there was no call.
Well, he did get his ankles clipped and he tumbled, but he just didn't think it had lost him any kind of advantage. He was happy. I think he's parkoured himself onto his feet, and he's like, I haven't lost an advantage here. I'm going to keep going.
And it was polite by Fyswhick to almost expect the call, and Watt was happy to keep playing.
I mean, that's one of the other great things about self-officiation is you can just decide, hey, look, I'm happy to wear that and keep going. It's not...
We saw that earlier with Arbish wearing the Dave McManus shoulder charge. You'd get a couple of weeks for that in Union.
The shoulder charge distracted from the travel. I'm still angry about that.
Looks like Garbutt will take this one. Gentle calls him in. Garbutt just checking the disc. Imagine it will be mostly flat. Spell the window goes out, and Garbutt is going to go all the way. Too far for even the speedy spell window.
Cheng there was just there to follow, make sure it hit the ground. So but yeah, just too flat and too fast for this late in the weekend.
Lie.
No, it's coming towards the disc.
10. This needs to be a call, so it'll come back.
Travel call, I think.
All right.
Maybe the first, sorry.
Yeah, on Casey Lie. You'll have to make that throw again. So Tan. Stuck a little bit. Ironbark, their offense is very far away.
They're in trouble.
And now you've got to keep working. They're going backwards.
Just get it out of there. Get it out of there.
Oh, that is a hard throw to do, but he does it with well and does it with style. Tam. And Spelder-Wendell just reads the throw, gets in there, gets the block. McManus will pick it up for Fyswhick unit. Hannah Monty. And Monty is going to uncork an outside in to Garbutt. It's the carpet from the 70s apartment, the shag pile.
Yep.
Maybe just Garbutt and the day two legs all combining. He just doesn't quite get enough.
And again,
elevation.
Curving it with that wind. The wind's just going to push it down too sharply. It's just going to come in like a bullet. You think you've got it red, and then it just drops that last 5 meters in 0.2 of a second.
Lie. Tan. Chang. And now Matt Tam. Daryl Chew. And Chew, is he going to get there? A huge collision between the two players. Chew is down.
That was...
I think it's been caught, so
it's caught in bounds.
it's going to be a goal by the looks, but at what cost?
It's, yep, so injury has been called. It's a hairy situation you get sometimes when you've got one player following the... So they called the goal. Fyswhick have said, yep, he was definitely in bounds, so it will say a goal for Ironbark. But yeah, not a great way to finish your tournament, to get collected by a teammate. But yeah, it's running with that disc overhead and another teammate who's got just that laser focus on it coming in, and get yourself in some hairy situations there. So
We'll get another look at it here.
yeah, I think it was
Just a big collision.
yeah. Oh, I just copped a knee or a hip to the face there. That's
It's a rough one.
yep. Good, straight away by the Fyswhick player just to check on him, make sure he's okay. So timeout's been called by Fyswhick just to have a breather. So it's
It's turned into
3-goal margin, but obviously Fyswhick will have offense out of this one. And if
it's been a run of a couple of goals now.
yeah, they need to pick up the pace a little bit, Ironbark, and I think that's why Fyswhick might have called this time out. Just a little bit of
Gamesmanship.
a little bit of clock management. You don't see it often in Ultimate, but you know, we're what, just over an hour, I think. Yep, 61 minutes into the game, or 61. Yep. So less than 10 minutes till soft cap, and this timeout's going to burn 2 of those minutes, and just going to leave it just that little bit too long for Ironbark to be able to come back. They'll take the full extent of this timeout. They'll come out, probably hold the offensive point, and that's 4 goals, and that's, you know, just about done. Because once you factor in the break in between goals, that's just not enough time. So the only hope for Ironbark to keep this game alive is to get an early turn, like within first 2 or 3 passes. So you've just got to absolutely send that zone down and just have them just go hard on everything. Don't try and play conservative. Just
You're saying that Ironbark needs to go full send?
absolute full send. They just have to make a play on every single one of those first throws, because their only hope of keeping this game alive.
Well, there is the key to this game. Simon Talbot tells us that Ironbark need to send it.
Yeah. As we've seen, like Fyswhick unit, there's no floaty throws. They're all fairly zippy throws, which means they're not throwing any fakes. Anything they're leading into, they're going to throw. So you've just got to have that bid, and if you get beat, you get beat. But you've got to take those risks sometimes to keep yourself alive, keep yourself in the game. And of course, it's the last game of the weekend. You're boiling down to the last few points of the tournament. So the last thing you want to be doing is sitting in the car on the drive home going, oh, I could have just given that little bit more.
Questions about what we're covering and why we're covering what we are covering. If you disagree, you have the opportunity to change that. You need to become an Ulti TV Patreon. Many perks involved. If you want us to cover more games, we need your help. We can't do it on our own. We cover as much as we can, but there are limits. And you could help us get out there and cover more things. Gentle
Yeah, they've held up that flow.
to McManus. And Gentle, Ironbark going to their zone. Nothing in the intermediate space. Spelderwindle is then going to go with the outside in towards Barron, who wears the heavy pressure. No contact. The easy backhand to Garbett. 12-8 is the score now.
That was well-controlled offense by Fyswhick. They knew that they could just slow it down, because Ironbark were in that situation where they needed to just go at it to salvage a shot at a victory here. So just keep bouncing it back and forth, pull them towards, draw the defense towards the disc to try and make a play, and then it just left. They drew their wings right in, and it just left their two offensive wings with trying to be guarded by one player. Just a case of picking one, making the deep player make a play at it. You know, who knows, if he had got that block, that could have changed things, but I think that they'll be pretty comfortably waltzing away with 9th place now, but we've seen things happen this weekend, haven't we? We've seen comebacks, we've seen close games. I watched...
as we always do when it comes to Ultimate.
I was watching earlier this morning, Branch B versus Ubean, Universe Point, and counted 8 end zone turnovers between the two teams during that sudden death point. Was
not do good things for your nerves, I would imagine.
It was not pretty Ultimate. It was 14 blokes chucking a frisbee and hoping for the best.
The Hollander goes with a bit of a roller, and Weston and Watt. Mitch Hanna's gone.
Yep, got to move it.
But Yang is in the area. Hanna!
What a grab. Perfect read on that. He knew that it was just going to drop down sharply at that last moment, as all floaty throws have. Parked himself right underneath it. Just meant the Fyswhick, 2 Fyswhick players, mind you, just had no clean play at it. Just had to let him have it. Outstanding positioning by Mitch Hanna.
Hanna's had a great tournament. He's played well both games on stream.
Yep.
Had a pretty big layout block yesterday.
So what are we at? We're 4 minutes from soft cap. Obviously, our game clock isn't the official one. We got it as close as we can, but at some point you will hear a siren wailing in the background. That will be the official time, so ours is indicative only. But yeah, we're a couple of minutes out, I think.
And this is the second last game of the day here, the second last game of the tournament. We're nearly done. Everything is nearly been decided. This, of course, for 9th place, the best of the rest. Coming up shortly, we'll have a 5th place playoff, the men's, which will decide potentially the game to go. New South Wales guaranteed, perhaps, a 5th spot. So we'll watch the game. That'll decide who gets to go to Division 1 in the men's. And Spelderwindle will take a brick.
Ironbark need this turn early.
Henderson has just kind of creeped out the back. Gentle off Monty.
Just immediately looks to get it off this sideline too. He doesn't try and spend too much time working it down.
So Gentle working again, gets it out to McManus. See Monty, she's just hanging in the space.
Hovering.
And a flat one across to Dermot Henderson.
Curve throws. It's not working today, Daniel. I've said it countless times. And my confirmation bias tells me I've been right every time.
It's a wonderful thing, confirmation bias.
Hannah's gone. Look at this.
And Matt Tam.
No. Oh, no.
Yeah, no.
Perfect cut. Had him Jukes. Go to the old Juke step, set him under, but the throw just had too much on it. Curved away. But it's given a good defensive position. Fyswhick having to travel the full 64. Well, not quite, maybe 61 and a bit.
Yeah, 62 and 3/4, I would say.
Yep.
And Gentle again with that hammer across to McManus. Spelderwindle. Oh, that low pass, but Spelderwindle, it's fine. Now the scuba over the top to Gentle. Monty draws 2 defenders, potentially opening it up, something on the other side. McManus. Gentle.
Gentle's just having a fun throw in the park. They can do this all afternoon.
You can tell his experience. He just knows where the disc needs to get to.
Yep.
Intuitively. Many hours and all the years at practice for Fyswhick United. Gentle. Just looking at Spelderwindle there, obviously wanting him to move up the field.
I think he's just prioritising that high side, just using the near side as a bailout.
through the hands of Asher Gentle. That's a goal for Fyswhick and their 13th. And that is time cap.
So yeah, there's the official siren. Obviously we've about 25 seconds back, so we believe the rule is that this point will be played and that will be it.
The game has been decided.
Yep, so we know who wins, but just, I think you want to go home on a positive. Like, it's a long drive back to Sydney / Canberra.
And it's actually one of the few times where you'll ever get to end a game losing by scoring.
Yeah, score the last goal, but you haven't won, which is strange feeling because you're so used to a tournament play having to score the last goal to win, but it's sort of bittersweet if you get that last goal in, and it just means that the game's over and you're done and you finish 10th. But nevertheless, it doesn't mean you take the foot off. It doesn't mean you want to be less competitive at this point. You play the same as you have always played from point 1 on Saturday through to the final point on Sunday.
And Fyswhick unit will be the best of the rest. They start off their Division 2 campaign with an excellent result.
The Division 2 field we're going to see at AUC this year is going to be one of the probably the most competitive, I think, since the tournament was conceived almost 10 years ago.
What a pull.
That's a great pull.
For Robert de Hollander to uncork for the last point of the game. He's got it absolutely correct.
Fyswhick have brought out a zone just for funsies.
Maybe looking for a cheap turn, Tan. Trying to get it to Hannah, can't do it. Dougal going to go across to Rosho. A very nice catch, laying out, catching that hammer. Raiden Cheng. Manganay is gone.
Good
he draws
shot.
2. Oh, and Jalil.
Well read. I thought he'd wrong-footed Jalil there for a minute, but he got just enough on it.
Gill and de Hollander. De Hollander with a saucy scuba over to Yang.
He's going to walk this one in.
Right now, Ironbank.
Oh, no. Don't know who he was shooting for there, whether it was Gill or de Hollander. And Hannah just unleashes, but
poor Alan
was not ready for that at all.
Has no legs left. He kind of looked back as if to say, was that supposed to be for me? Unfortunately, yes.
So to see those throws go up, sometimes you look around and go, who's, oh, that was, okay, it wasn't. You assume it was to someone else who just doesn't exist.
Yang, de Hollander. Looking for that hammer over the top to Gill. There's Yang. De Hollander. De Hollander again. They're just bouncing between each other. Patel involved.
That's an ugly hammer.
Oh, but it's
somehow
so good. It's a double helix. It's so bad it ends up being good. And that is the game. Fyswhick United. Fyswhick unit team run out deserved victors. 9 for them. Ironbark take 10th.
Yep. And Ironbark, like full credit to Ironbark, they're an excellent team. They do move the disc quite well. They have got quite good defense, but just that slump of a couple of points in the middle of the game around half an hour in just put them too far behind to mount a sufficient comeback to get themselves into the game. But yeah, unit just controlled the tempo of the entire game from start to finish and just played it on their terms.
Well, that is that for that game. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back very shortly with the game to go for Division 1 Nationals. My name has been Daniel Clinton. Simon Talbot, any closing thoughts, my friend?
I just hope our viewers have enjoyed the coverage and keen to support Aussie TV on Patreon so we can keep providing coverage like this of not just Australia but New Zealand and European Ultimate as well.
Well, based on that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you again shortly.
Alti.tv